Hello and welcome back to the No Excuses podcast. This is episode 61 and my name is Anne and I live in Worcestershire with my husband Tom and our dog Bertie, who's just had his tea and is lying behind me on his bed, one of his beds. I recorded this episode just over an hour ago, and when I went to put the upload it onto my laptop where I do the editing, my ring light was in the way all the time, so I thought that was far too distracting, and so I'm having another go at doing the podcast, all of it. Never mind, it might be a better quality, you won't know that, but I might actually talk a bit slower and get things in the right order, because despite what they say about doing things and learning from them, I evidently don't. Is it my age? Maybe. Anyway, today is Monday the 26th of June. Now I'm recording this a bit later in the evening, it's about 6 o'clock now. I am not sure I'll get it done tonight. Well, you won't know this, but it's probably going to appear on Wednesday because I'm out for summer tomorrow, Tuesday as well. So yeah, episode 61, welcome back. How are you? What have you been doing? Tell me all about it. I do like to hear from you. And thank you to everybody who gets in touch. All my contact details are below, and if you want to ask me about anything, even if it's something that, astrophysics or whatever I might not know about, I might make something up. There are two mals going on at the moment in the podcast. The first one is the Smash the Stash mal, whereby you can enter any size project as long as the wool yarn you're using is more than 50% of it is more than 6 months old. Okay, I'm not going to ask you to prove that, I'll take your word for it. I've had a few entries, thank you very much. Recording them all, and yeah, we'll probably do the draw towards mid-October, end of October, so I can get it out before the mad season starts. And the other mal is the flat mal, and I'll put the hashtags for both of these on the screen as I'm talking about them anyway. And the flat mal is any item that's to be seamed with a needle, sewn up. Somebody said, does a blanket count? Of course it does. I mean, a blanket should count more than anything because there's a lot of seaming in that. If you choose to sew your squares together or your shapes together. So yes, anything that requires not just patching up the underarm, anything that requires sewing a seam or more, then you can enter it into the flat mal. The gauntless has been thrown down, and I know that you'll it might not be the most popular mal, but I know a few of you are keen to take part and see how you got on as well. Some of you are more experienced in sewing than others. Some hate it, some don't. So, excuse me. I've got an itchy. I'm always going like that, aren't I? I'm a very sort of twitchy person, I think. And the other thing to mention, and I'll mention it every time, is the destash, which is where, instead of doing the bags that I've done in the last couple of years, in order to raise a bit of money for the Stroke Association and to help me destash this year, I'm offering a wonky bag and a skein of yarn, and it's going to be £33 or £30 plus £3 postage within the UK. That's second class post. And if you want to order from afar, then you will need to make the difference up, that the extra postage it will cost me to send it out to you. By all means, write to me and ask for a postage quote, and I can probably give you that. Once I know as well how much the parcel's going to weigh, normally I put about 2 or 3 extras in, but I might not do that this year, depending on what I can get my hand on, and also the especially if I'm posting abroad, because sometimes the extras can take you over the weight banding. Anyway, So that's my destash if you're interested. I've got an order for about 8 or 9 bags so far. They won't be made just yet. They're probably going to be made. I'm probably not expecting to start sewing, or I might do, but at least not sending out until about August to probably end of August to September. It won't run in. I will take orders until about October, beginning of October. After that, it'll be closed for the year. So thank you for everybody who's purchasing off me, and for anybody who said they're buying a bag for the first time. Thank you very, very much. Well, we better talk about knitting, I suppose, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing on a podcast, and I'm not very good at it, apparently. I haven't got any finishes this time. No, I probably would have if I'd stuck to my guns and done things I'm supposed to, but I can't help fiddling, and I'm not very good at fiddling because is it my age? Oh, I'm young now. Oh, excuse me. I don't know where that came from. You're not boring me, obviously. Is it my age? I don't know. When I spoke to you last time, I was knitting the cardigan, the V-neck cardigan, out of my family knit Patons book, which is a trusted, tested pattern. And this is the yarn. It's wool, BFL, superwash, and it's from Emma at Bobble and Badger, and it's called Stardust, is the name of the colour. And today I finished the left front. I can see the subtle difference where I've changed skeins. It's a bit more blue down there than it is up here, I think. But it's only if I look at it. But do you know, I mean, I've got the back here next to me, and I've started that 4 times. The first time I had to restart it again. I undid it because I was running out of wool. I bought 5 skeins off Emma, and that should be more than enough to make me a short sleeve cardigan, even in a bigger size. However, I was finding I was starting the 3rd ball, and I hadn't even finished the back, so there's no way I was going to do 2 fronts, even though they've got a V, so they won't have as much fabric in them or wool in them, yardage in them as the back would. But then I wanted 2 sleeves, and I wanted not just cap sleeves, I want the short sleeves. So I undid that, and after some fiddling and restarting again and again, I finally decided that I'd knit it on a 4.5 instead of what I would consider to be a standard DK needle, would be a 4mm or an old size 8 if you're as old as me. And yeah, so I knit it a slightly looser gauge, and also I tried to decrease the raglan because it measured about 18 inches. Now bear in mind this is a pattern I've used many times. I think going up a needle size made obviously put my row gauge higher as well, and it just extended the depth of the raglan. But it was getting silly because although I do need a deep raglan to be able to move in and out of my cardigan, then it doesn't need to be 18 inches, it's not like it's designed to be one of these things with very deep armholes. It's supposed to be a classic cardigan, although a loose fit. It's got ease in it if you look at the pattern pictures. So I've re-knitted I did some maths. I reduced the size of the back by a few stitches, and I then worked out the raglan decreases. It's similar to what the pattern said, but I just took a few rows out, and I think I probably gained a 2 to 3 inches. I took 2 to 3 inches off that raglan depth. I didn't want to do any more in case it interfered with me being able to put the thing on. And then I did the front, which I've just shown you, and this is right. This is a lovely book that one of you lovely ladies have given me. But I was going to... This is my notes for this cardigan. Right. me trying to do maths. I am useless. So I've got pages and pages of row counts and me trying to work out stitch counts, right? And I've been an idiot. Well, you know that. You're used to me being an idiot. But what I did was I kept the front. I was thinking, well, you know, got bigger boobs. Let's leave the front as it is. Sort of forgetting that I'd taken stitches out the back, out of the width. So when it came to doing the V-neck decreases, although I'd got the raglan increases the same as the back, I hadn't adjusted the V-neck decreases. And so it's ended up about 2 inches longer on the overall length. Now, it took me until I was talking to the camera about an hour and a half ago now to realise that's where I'd gone wrong. I'd gone wrong because I didn't adjust the V carried on past the raglan decreases. Didn't notice it so much when I was knitting it. Didn't occur to me. But the way I can get around it is by starting the V earlier, because I know how many decreases I need to do for the V on the neck edge. I just need to start them earlier instead of at the armhole level. So it'll just be a deeper V, start lower, and then it'll end at the same rate, and I should then get my raglan the same length on the front and the back. But it's interesting that it only occurred to me when I was talking to the camera. It's like we was having a conversation, but you wasn't answering me. But I obviously, the future vibes came through. So I'm going to do that now. When I finished this and I measured it against the raglan earlier, I was in 2 minds just to put it into timeout because I was getting annoyed. I fancied knitting this. It should have been finished by now. All the effort I've put into it, I've knitted it at least once in terms of rows and stitches. And it's not a high twist. Not a fluffy, but it's not a high twist wool. It's 100% BFL superwash, and because it's not high twist, I'm aware that it's starting to look like it has already been knitted, even though it hasn't been knitted for very long. I've taken it straight down again. That will go when it's been washed and blocked, so that's fine, but I don't want to ruin the wool. You know, it's not too tightly plied, and I don't want to ruin it because it's nice and, you know, it's what I wanted. So I'm now going to go in. The good thing is, well, it would be good if, the good thing is, it meant I don't have to change my back raglan. I can keep that it is. The bad thing is, I'd already decided to add another 10 rows to the back, which I've added to the front, because I felt when it was held up to me, it wouldn't actually be quite long enough for me to sit properly with the rest of my clothes. I like it to not cover my bum, but to go over the waistband of my trousers, and it was getting a bit close to that. So now you can say to me, well, Anne, if you knitted it top down, you wouldn't be having any of this problem because you just knit it until it's the length you wanted, and that's true. But I do like the fact that it's portable. I can pick it up. It's not heavy. I'm not going round and round in circles. I won't be on the sleeves, so I'm enjoying the knit, and I personally think I end up knitting it much quicker when it's pieced. So watch this space. It's all I can say, and hopefully I might have come, you know, and got a bit more finished by the time I speak to you in a couple of weeks' time. I ain't promising anything. No. Now you're saying, aren't you, where's the Magpie? Where indeed is that Magpie? I was really, really, really enjoying the knitting the Magpie. I know, you know what's coming, and you can slam your head against the table if you want to, or put your head in your hands in despair. But I was knitting away on it, and I was getting, what I did the sleeves, I parked the body, and I went and did the sleeves, so I knew how much I had left for the body, because I got 2 skeins of that lovely fairy tale colour from Biff Sugar Yarns, in a high twist VFL, so it was holding up well, it was fine. And I thought because it's high twist it would be good, because it's knitted on, I think it's like a 6mm needle, so it's very loose gauge. And I did the sleeves. I didn't do as many decreases on the sleeves because I've got quite chummy arms. But what I did do, I did a swift decrease. I think I knitted 2 together every 5th or 6th stitch or something like that, just to decrease it before the I-cord cast off. And they look fine, you know. But I tried it on. I was talking to Sal on WhatsApp the other Sunday. Hello, Sal. And I was telling her about my worries about it, and then after I'd spoken to her, I put it on and I sent her a photograph. And okay, I know it hadn't been blocked, and I could have blocked it, but for me it looked too big around the neck and too big on the arms. Now bear in mind because the way knitting works, it was going to go sideways rather than down when you blocked it, so I knew it would grow widthways. I'd only got a little bit of yarn left. I'd probably less than 10 grams to do maybe another 1 or 2 rounds, if that, and then an I-cord cast off. I mean, I could have done another cast off, but it was I-cord everywhere else, so that's what the designer, you know, the instructions were for. I sent Sal the photograph and asked her what she thought, and she said she thought it was too big for me. Now I did a size G, which should have given me a little bit of ease, but not too much. But when I looked at the photographs of people on the project page for the V-neck, I preferred the ones that didn't need a really outsized one. It's not meant to be. I mean, she said you can choose what ease you like, really, but I looked at it and you know, I don't want it to be like a string vest, basically. I don't think it would have been because of the wool. Anyway, I decided to undo it. And it was a bit frustrating because the way it's constructed in pieces, not seamed together but picked up, you know, you do the shoulders and pick up for the back, pick up from the front. So I've got a lot of little tiny small balls of wool left over now, which means more ends to sew in when I start doing it again. I could have, I needed it to be longer, and I wouldn't have had enough wool to make it as long as I would have liked. Personally, I think, you know, bigger boobs are always going to sit lower than, well, usually quite often sit lower than, you know, smaller ones, and I don't want it ending on my boobs. I don't think that's a good look for me sat down. And I could have used the dark bidding by that I got from Attic Spin Dye, but I wanted that to go with the Urban Rust that I bought off them as well. I see them as a pairing. I bought them as a pair. So I have got enough wool to knit smaller sizes, and I should get the length I want out of the Magpie tendency. But because, although I was enjoying the knit, it is a bit fiddly, and don't want to put you off from doing it. You know, it's not hard by any means, but putting things together, and I found the hardest bit is knitting with thin wool on bigger needles because it makes it jumpy. Anyway, so it's undone, it's in the drawer, and when it was in the drawer, I saw at the back of the drawer an IKEA bag, green wool. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought I'd had some green wool? I'll just get these out so I can show you. Now these are all, that's a bit emeraldy for me, but it won't be near my face, so I think that's okay. These are all from Emma of Yarnworthy. Don't ask me the individual names. There's one more. And if I can, I should have a picture of the it's like a fade set, and I've got a little bit of this Suri alpaca that went into my Felix. So put this down. I saw that and I thought, I'm just going to get on with something simple. Now Penny has made at least 2-3 turtle doves off Espace Tricot, and I knitted the worsted stroke Aran one. I just picked that up and I thought, I'm just going to make that, it's going to be simple. So my idea is, on the needle here, it's a 5.5 needle, and I started knitting it, and I didn't do the biggest size because I learnt that the comfort zone I was doing that poncho that I ended up undoing. I don't know how I ever get anything finished. I think my problem is I feel like I put myself on a treadmill and I want to do it, and then I don't think about what I'm doing quick enough. I think, oh, I can knit it again, you know, but actually I waste so much time knitting things again. It's got to be something I stop doing on a regular basis. I know we all have to unpick things occasionally, but with me it's like yoki-koki. One step forward, one step back, and in between. Anyway, it's a free pattern, so I could talk about it reasonably well. I did a German twisted cast on, and then it says 4 inches of rib for the neck, but I didn't want it that high on me because I'm just my neck's too short for that, and I didn't want it, because he said lighter colour, I didn't want it rubbing on if I got makeup on my chin or anything. Not makeup on my chin, I didn't want it rubbing my chin, it's getting up to my chin line if I got makeup on. So I started knitting it up, and I thought this neck looked tight, you know. I put it on a cable, and Tom could barely get it over my head. It could, but it would soon stretch it out. So I started again, and I increased the stitch count, but I'm going to just do the raglan increases the same until I get the number on the pattern for the, I might do the biggest size. I've got enough wool, I think. So this, I'm knitting, I've got about 220 grams of this. I've got 2 whole balls of it and about 20 grams I probably put in the beginning of my Felix at the top. So that's it knitted up with a twisted rib at the top. So that's going to sit quite wide now on my neckline, and I've only done about 2 inches of rib. Quite enjoying that. I've done short rows. I put an extra short row in than the pattern says, and I am quite round shouldered, and I'm doing the raglan differently, and this is why I get into trouble, you see, because I messed with things. But I'm just doing purl stitches, and you probably can't see that, but let me show you one where the needle isn't. Probably can't, I don't know if you can see that. I've got purl stitches in between the increases instead of knit stitches, that's all. So it'll make the raglan more pronounced. I wanted to make a detail of it. And my idea with this is, I'm not going to fade it or melange it. I'm going to do about 4 to 6 inches of a yoke, and then I'm going to start striping it. So I will be striping this colour with that colour, because that's the next lightest, and then going back to 2 of those, and then do 2 lots of these, and then work my way down so that I'm doing narrow stripes of pale in between darkening stripes of the green. So I've got that green, I'll show you again, it's got a little bit of yellow in it, it's nice, and this has got the yellow in anyway, but the greens are getting darker. This one is my least favourite, only because it's a blue green, and that's not really, I would say that wouldn't suit me if I tried to wear it close to my face, because it's a bit more emerald green, and that isn't a very good tone for me. But this one is better because it's darker. It's still a bit emeraldy for me, but I think I can get away with that. And it's going to be, you know, around the tummy area, so I don't think I'll use the Suri alpaca, but I have got like 520 grams, and that should be more than enough for a jumper for me. And you see, when you think, well, 520, and yet I've got 500 of the DK, and I'm worried about running out of that. Doesn't make sense, does it? Really doesn't make sense. So that's my plans for doing. That's what I'm knitting on in the evening at the moment, or the daytime if I'm fed up with the cardigan. I refuse to let the cardigan beat me because it's my own fault, and I'd like to wear it. One good thing I found the other day when I was looking at my Tom got me the first 2 bags out the loft for me to look through to identify things from stash, and I've also looked on Ravelry about what I know I've got upstairs in which bag. Hopefully it's accurate. But I found a 10 ball pack of whole super soft in the, I think it's the gold crest colour, and it's sort of a coppery. I'll put a picture up if I can get a decent one, but there's more than enough for a jumper there. And I've also got probably more than enough for what I want of the Titicaca, which is their lace weight alpaca. It's not fluffy, it's a fine lace weight, and I've got that in the walnut, so you'd have gold with a walnut over the top of it, sort of thing. And I'm going to make, hopefully, I've checked the yardage and it looks like I'm going to be covered this time, for the Cargill sweater by Craybay. I've wanted to do that. I keep calling it in my head the dipstick jumper, then, but it's not dipstick, it's a dip stitch. But I know what I mean in my head. I'll put a picture up, and I no disrespect to Rebecca the designer, because it's a jumper I really like, but when I've priced it for my size, even with cheaper yarns, like you might, even with a decent, well, most acrylics are decent now, aren't they? Looking at an acrylic jumper, then it still would have cost me about £50 to do, because it's a bit like crochet, I suppose, because it makes a deep stitch, because you're making extra loops all the time in the wool, and you can see that from the picture. You don't have to buy the pattern to see that it looks like a nice thick jumper. So I'm really happy, because I was so tempted. There was a sale on somewhere, might have been the Drops Alpaca sale, and I was so tempted to buy some Drops Alpaca just to make the Cargill sweater. When I saw that I had the yardage meterage already, then it thrilled me, because I've got the lovely coppery colour and the brown, and they should go together quite well. I will swatch. So that's one of my future plans, because I wanted to do the Cargill for some time now. Okay, right, well, incoming then. Incoming, I have got a headband. You see my headband? And I've got another one. They're both covered in Liberty print. Don't ask me which one. It's got hair on it. One of mine. Pretty prints, and these are on Etsy from the Blossom Tree House. The Blossom Tree House. I think they're a bit tight. I'm hoping they're going to loosen up a bit. I haven't left her any reviews yet. But yeah, they're a bit. But I have got a big head, so me saying they're a bit tight might be a bit unfair on her. Certainly fit a child, I think. So I bought 2 because my hair's getting quite long. Having it cut on Wednesday, but sometimes it's nice to put it back off your face a bit. So that I bought those 2, and I also have been very naughty, and I've bought these 2 gorgeous skeins of Suri alpaca from Cheshire hand-dyed yarn on Etsy again, and this is gorgeous. I mean, this is it's like a white, I'd say, with blue, pinks, and like a burgundy colour, and speckles. Really, really, really pretty. I've got 2 of those because I felt that they might actually go better with my, when I do my lace and fade boxy, with my bird streak that I bought from Wonderwall. So I'll put a photograph in. I think they might go better. I haven't actually compared the yarns yet, but then the dark colour that I bought. Now the lace and fade boxy, I think it's got panels of lace, but I don't know whether they're in mohair or alpaca or whether it's double yarn. I've not checked anything, but I've bought them anyway, so it's tough now, isn't it? Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I love the colours in this. So yeah, they're a bit like on the cool side for me in a way, but you know, I just like the combination. So, and they're called Cottage Garden Lace Weight Baby Suri Alpaca, 75% alpaca, 25% silk, and in 50 grams you get 420 metres. So for every 50 grams you can marry it up with a skein. If you wanted to double it, marry it up with a skein of 4-ply. Right. And the other thing I bought a couple of CBD products, trying to reintroduce them back into my routine. I bought some from a company called Herbal Health. I bought some of their Ninja Balm, and it's, I keep forgetting to take that tiny bit of fluff out. Very, very soft balm. They say in the hot weather it will go very, very soft. Put it in the fridge. But I've been rubbing it on my sore joints on my hands, and I'll let you know how I get on. I think it has helped a bit, but I'd rather not make any recommendations until I've tried them a bit more. If you want to ask me about it privately, then do. But I don't want to contravene any copyright laws or anything. And also, I'm no expert on CBD, and you're not allowed to give advice about CBD either. So that's the Ninja. I recommend that people do. And then I've also got Soothe, which I think is for bites and things. And same colour, slightly different smell. And I also bought some CBD capsules. I bought the Sativa for the day, and actually I think they've worked for me today during the day. And I've bought some of them hybrid ones for the evening, just to see if they help me when I'm having a bad pain day. The only trouble is that because of the opiates I'm on, I've got to make sure that I don't take them all at the same time, which I've been doing before, to be honest. Mind you, the capsules I had off them before were so old, they were way out of date, and I don't know whether they had any sort of effectiveness at all. So yeah, so I'm trying those, and we'll see how we get on. If anybody's interested, I mean, it's because of my arthritis, really. My arthritis type symptoms. Just broke my nail. So yes, that's what I bought. And I went to Merry Hill with Elaine, and this is the Knicker saga. I went to yours and I had a look at their knickers, and my problem with knickers generally has been the waistband, because if it's too narrow that way, then I have trouble, and I rip them because I'm putting my thumb in them trying to, you know, hook them up. And that's where it most pair of knickers fail for me. The ones from Marks and Spencer's have a slightly deeper waistband, and that works very, very well for me. So when I was in yours, I saw they've got some knickers with a nice deep waistband, and you said, well, where's the knickers? And no, I just didn't buy a pack of knickers just to get the elastic. It happened the other way around. I looked at them, I got them out of the packet even, and I was so impressed with the waistband, not because it was pretty, because it was nice, soft, stretchy and deep. I thought, these will do, these are going to fit me. I bought a big size so that, you know, I'd rather have them too big than too small so I can reach them. And when I got them home and I tried to try them on, the actual knicker part was woven. It didn't stretch. It was unstretchable knickers. Not at my age. Not me being me. So, I talked to my mum about it, because I'm going to give them to the charity shop, because I hadn't even been able to try a pair on. And she said, well, why don't you just cut the elastic off, because at least I've got something. So yeah, so I've undone very carefully all 5 pairs. I've got 5 lots of elastic now. Even it doesn't matter if they don't go with the colour of the jersey I've got the knicker elastic ready and waiting. And my mum has made me a pair of jersey trousers, because I can't wear my linen ones anymore. Mum's made me a pair of linen trousers, and I've been wearing them today, and they're very, very comfortable. So it might be nice if we can get some thinner cotton jersey, a bit nearer to t-shirt weight than the Ponte Roma, which is polyester and viscose, that I usually wear in the winter, and I've been wearing all year round when I go out now because of the linen. Get a couple of pairs, then that would be nice for me to wear in the summertime when the weather's warmer. So yeah, they were very, very comfortable. Got the material from Hobbycraft in Droitwich, Bold. It is actually Webs. So I can feel it digging into me behind my ears. They will give, I'm sure they will give. Okay, so that gets me through my incoming. And now let's look at where I've been. Now, I think when I spoke to you last time, I thought I talked about going to the garden centre with Wendy and Amanda. So I'll have to check that, because it's not in my book. But I don't know whether I recorded on the day that I did my notes. So I'm going to leave that out. It's been very warm. I've been at home most days. I went to Maryhill with Elaine, just the two of us, because Liz was elsewhere, Germany actually. We had a nice time. We went to Wetherspoons and had a rum and coke and a chicken and chip type thing. Sat outside in the shade. I ordered on the app. I messed that up as well, but I had to do it again. And we had a lovely walk round, and we had a cup of tea. No, we didn't. We had a soft drink in Costa, and that was nice. I had a strawberry lemonade. And then we had fibre installed, full fibre installed at the house a week ago Thursday. So we've got internet, and it's not dropping, and it's working really well. I had a chat with Sal the other Sunday, and that was good fun. It's when I sent her a picture of me and me Magpie that is no longer. And then I met with Penny as well, and we had a good chat last week in the pub. I actually had a rum there as well. Getting to be a bad habit. I got rum at home, but I don't drink it at home. Weird, isn't it? And then last week, Mum, Naomi and I went to Longbridge, had a look round, bought some food, didn't buy any other any clothes or anything. I saw a really nice top that's got like a yoke, and then it flares out from the yoke in white, but it was nearly 40 quid, and I'd want to dye it, and I don't know how successful it would be. And I looked online anyway, they don't have any of the bigger sizes. I don't know why, but Marks and Spencer's were getting very good at doing bigger sizes, and now I don't see them. I need to ask them, really. You don't see them in the shop. I don't see them at Maryhill, which is a big store, and I don't see them at Longbridge, which is the biggest store. And I'm thinking, I'll have a look in Worcester when I next go to Worcester. I'm thinking, well, why have you stopped stocking the bigger sizes? You can see the smaller sizes, like the 8s and the 10s. And it's a shame, really, because I would be more inclined to buy if they did them. So yeah, and that's all I've done. I've been messing about, having a tidy, doing bits and pieces. I haven't been that productive, as you can tell. I did read a book in a whole day, Yellow Hammer by James Henry, which I really enjoyed. And I'm listening to a David Baljati book at the moment. I'm not really impressed with it. I'm only listening to it because I'm so far through it, and I wanted something to listen to when I was sat outside because of the moth, you know, the babola. It was about that big, and it's got big teeth, and it's bitten me. And if you don't believe any of that, then more for you. I have an absolute fear of big hairy moths. The little ones I can cope with. And no, it wasn't a clothes mop. It is one with the hairy body and the big fat hairy body. It was probably about an inch and a half across. Big for a moth compared to the paper thin ones. And I'd come into here late when we were going to bed, and I parked my power chair that I'm in now here, plug it in every night so it gets charged overnight, and I transfer it into a manual. And as I turned around and stood up, bearing in mind I haven't got the greatest of balance even when I could walk, this thing and I'm like, don't scream, Tom, rescue me now. And it seemed to take an eternity for him to grab me and pull me backwards, and I was trying really, really hard to behave myself and not scream. Anyway, he got the vacuum out. It was nowhere to be seen. It shut him in, and we knew it hadn't escaped from that room. Kept the door shut all night. And then he couldn't sleep, so he got out of bed, and I was then nervous that he'd left the back door, the door into this room open, so it could come out and get me, because he's bound sure to make a beeline for me, isn't it? So I didn't sleep very well. I was shattered the following day, and then so the following night, I went and sat outside. I've got a table just outside there on the call it a patio. It's a bit of concrete. And he put the light on in here when it got dark. He got the vacuum cleaner ready, because I do try and save them, but Babola, you come in here, you're gone. And it hasn't come out. It hasn't come out for the 3 nights now. But I won't yet sit in here until 30 days have passed, because they can live 30 to 60 days. He's wiggled things about. He's put the duster here, there, and everywhere. Oh, bless him, he's done everything he possibly could to agitate and find the moth, and it hasn't come out. So I'm thinking it maybe went out during the day, or when because we hadn't hit it with anything, you know. It might have gone out during the day or before we turned the light on when the window was still open, because it's a patio door here. It was open about 2 foot. So yeah, I found it very, very, very stressful. I'm not a worrier about stuff, you know, let things go over my head. But I thought about that moth all day. No wonder I was shattered. I slept like a bomb that night. Right. I might have to cut that waffle out about the babola, because, you know, we'll see. You'll see what it sounds like when I'm editing. Right, I'm going now. I'm getting peckish. Want some tea. Don't know what I'm having. I was going to have a scrambled egg sandwich, which is weird because I don't like eggs generally, but for some reason I like cold scrambled egg on brown bread, because we haven't been eating big meals because of the heat. So right, enough waffle. Let me know what you've been doing. I mean, have you had anything horrendous happen to you, like an attack by the babola? Let me know. I'm going out with Mum tomorrow, having a haircut Wednesday, and then I'll have a couple of days at home. I do really want to sew, and I want to sew myself some clothes. The only thing stopping me is me. And on that note, I shall leave you. You take care. Yeah, you know where to contact me. Thank you so much for watching. You're a lovely bunch. I'll see you soon.